Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob CYWES. I am the Carb Addiction Doc. Today we're going to discuss one of the most poorly understood, misunderstood molecules out there, ferritin. A lot of doctors, almost every blood test that you have, they'll do a CBC to look at your hemoglobin, to look at the size and shape of your red cells, which gives us information about iron, B12, and folate. Sometimes doctors will check your iron levels, your TIBC, your percent saturation, your ferritin, and they will, oh, your ferritin's high or your ferritin's low or whatever it is, and you need to donate blood. Wrong. Ferritin is not an iron number. Ferritin is not an iron number. Ferritin is not an iron number. In any doctor who bases donation, blood donation, or iron supplementation on ferritin doesn't understand iron dynamics. So this discussion is about what is ferritin and how should you concern yourself. Ferritin is an intracellular protein complex whose sole function is to store iron inside of cells. Store iron and make iron available to the mitochondria, because mitochondria and other organelle systems in your cells need iron as a substrate. So ferritin's job is to store iron inside of cells and make it available when those cells need it. And the ferritin level correlates directly with the level of cellular function. And if cells are working really, really hard, the most common cause of high cellular function in any organ is related to inflammation. So ferritin is a direct and organ-specific marker of inflammation because your cells are working super hard, they need iron, and ferritin provides that. So if your ferritin levels are very, very high, it does not correlate with absolute iron levels. That is your total iron. Ferritin doesn't correlate that. You can have high total iron and low ferritin, or low total iron and high ferritin. They don't correlate. If you're worried about your iron levels, look at your total iron levels. My ideal is 60 to 100. As we get closer or below 60, you're iron deficient. And if your iron levels are above 120 to 130, I use typically 130 depending on where you live at what elevation, you are iron overloaded. And certainly if there's a reason for it, blood donation is warranted, not based on ferritin level. Ferritin is made of a variety of amino acids, and it is a store for ferric iron, for ferrous iron, for iron inside of cells. Here's an interesting fact. One ferritin molecule can store up to 4,500 iron atoms. So a massive repository for iron. And this allows iron, why do you have to do that? Because iron inside of the cells is toxic. So high iron levels is toxic to your cells, particularly liver and heart. So when ferritin levels store iron inside of cells, they allow the iron to be non-toxic, non-redox active, and rapidly mobilizable for cellular function. Without ferritin, free iron would catalyze massive oxidative damage via what we call Fenton, F-E-N-T-O-N chemistry. You can look that up. Ferritin is primarily intracellular. It is not meant to be a blood protein. A little bit of ferritin spills out into the bloodstream, but we can use that to look at ferritin levels inside of cells and as a marker of inflammation. It is mostly found in liver cells, hepatocytes, in macrophages. So it's associated, elevated ferritin is associated with cardiovascular risk, enterocytes, the intestine, bone marrow cells, and skeletal muscle cells. And it is found in association with mitochondria. So a small amount of the ferritin will leak into the blood, and that's what we can use to determine inflammation. Ferritin not only stores the iron and helps with cellular metabolism, it also is critically important in immune defense. And its job is to control iron availability, not just to store the iron. Ferritin is an acute phase reactant that rises with inflammation, infection, and cellular stress. Because iron is biologically dangerous during stress and inflammation. So think that one through. Iron is a liability during inflammation and infection. And in addition, bacteria, fungus, and some viruses require iron to divide. So when ferritin sucks up that iron, it helps the body to control or to beat bacterial, viral, and fungal infections. If you've tried a ketogenic diet, if you've tried low carb, if you've tried carnivore, you tried a carnivore-based diet, you probably know that keto works. But the frustration is it doesn't seem to work every day. And the reason for that is because your liver's production of ketones under the influence of glucagon fluctuates. And it's difficult to be constant. In fact, you probably shouldn't be constantly in ketosis, but it's difficult to switch that on and switch that off. So how does making ketones become accelerated? The way to do it is to use Ketone IQ, folks. This product is a rapidly absorbable ketone supplement identical to the ketones that your liver makes, and it promotes ketogenesis, promotes ketosis. So you get the benefits of ketones even on busy days, long meetings, hard workouts, during fasting, or if you're recovering from a bit of a carb binge, if you had some sugar, you can clean out your liver using ketones that your body already recognizes. From mental clarity to workout stamina to just real life performance, not just on perfect ketone days. In fact, on days when your liver is making ketones, you probably don't need it. But days you're dragging, days you're fatigued, days you're struggling, or is that boost? That's when I use this. And this is personal. So the body responds by locking iron away in ferritin, and this is called nutritional immunity. Cytokine-driven ferritin upregulation also occurs. So inflammatory cytokines increase the production of ferritin. They increase ferritin gene transcription. They increase the amount of iron that ferritin holds. So all of this is a biologic process. Ferritin is a very beneficial molecule, but it's also a marker of inflammation. And ferritin also has a lot of antioxidant defenses because it prevents iron from being catabolic. That's the Fenton reaction. Ferritin is tightly coupled, for those of you who are obsessed about mitochondrial function, ferritin is tightly coupled to mitochondrial function because iron is required for cytochromes, for iron sulfur clusters, for electron transport chain enzymes, essential to mitochondrial function. And when cells are under metabolic stress and iron trafficking increases, ferritin number increases the buffer effect, which is true mostly in liver, muscle, immune cells, and cancer cells. So ferritin, which most doctors don't look at, I do, is a primary metabolic stress marker. So it's a marker for inflammation. Now, ferritin can be high when your iron's low during inflammation. Ferritin can be high when your iron level is high. It is not a marker of iron deficiency. So we use blood work to look at iron levels because they may be high and low. Low iron needs to be replenished. High iron can be toxic and needs to be let. And how do you let that? You bleed. And the ideal way to bleed is with blood donation, irrespective of your ferritin level. Now, independently, I look at ferritin level as a marker together with other markers of inflammation. And if your ferritin level is very high, I'm very suspicious of organ-based inflammation. Maybe cardiovascular, maybe your liver, maybe your immune system, or it may be cancer. So it's a very useful screening tool. When you get your ferritin tested, and I urge you to do that regularly, I do it all the time, make sure that the person that is interpreting your blood work understands what I've just spoken about. Because almost always, high ferritin, they correlate with iron overload, not with inflammation or infection, and they miss the boat. And if your ferritin is high and you're not sure what's going on, give me a shout. 561-517-0642. We can look at the full metabolic range and see what's going on. But understand ferritin because most doctors do not.